Your discipline terrifies weak people, and they'll never admit it. They see you wake up at 5 a.m. every day. They see you work when they party. They see you stay consistent when they make excuses. And it makes them uncomfortable. Not because you're doing anything to them, but because your discipline exposes their weakness. Your standards highlight their lack of standards. Your consistency reveals their inconsistency. 500 years ago, Machiavelli understood something most people still don't get. Discipline isn't just about self-improvement. Discipline is power. It's intimidation. It's control. When you're ruthlessly disciplined, you become unpredictable to lazy people. They can't manipulate you. They can't distract you. They can't break you. And what people can't control, they fear. Today I'm going to show you why ruthless discipline scares people, and more importantly, how to use that fear to your advantage. Because when people see that you can't be broken, can't be distracted, can't be moved from your path, they treat you differently. They respect you differently. They fear you differently. This isn't about being likable. This is about being unbreakable. And unbreakable people don't negotiate with weakness. If you want the raw truth about power, discipline, and dominance, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel doesn't do motivation, we do strategy. Before we start, drop this in the comments. My discipline is my weapon. Let's begin with why discipline is the ultimate form of intimidation. Consistent people are terrifying to inconsistent people. Here's why. When you show up every single day, when you execute without fail, when you maintain standards regardless of circumstances, you become unpredictable to lazy people. They can't figure you out. They wake up when they feel like it. You wake up at the same time regardless of how you feel. They work when motivated. You work whether motivated or not. They quit when things get hard. You push harder when things get hard. This consistency makes you dangerous. Because lazy people operate on excuses, and your discipline destroys every excuse they use. They say, I'm too tired, you're tired too, but you still showed up. They say, I don't have time. You have the same 24 hours, but you made time. They say, it's too hard. You're doing the same hard thing without complaining. Your routine exposes their excuses as lies, and people hate being exposed. So they either respect you or resent you, usually both. Here's what happens in real environments: an office, a team, a group. One person is ruthlessly disciplined. Always on time, always prepared, always delivering. Everyone else has excuses: traffic, kids, tired, sick, stressed. The disciplined person makes all those excuses look weak. Because if they can do it under the same conditions, why can't everyone else? They can't manipulate what they can't break. Disciplined people don't negotiate their standards. They don't bend their rules. They don't make exceptions. And that lack of flexibility terrifies people who need flexibility to hide their weakness. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." Translation: your discipline is your armor. It creates an appearance of strength so complete that people assume you're unbreakable. And assumptions of strength become actual power when people believe them. If discipline is your weapon and consistency is your strategy, hit that like button right now. Stop trying to be relatable. Start being unmovable. Discipline isn't about improving yourself. It's about becoming someone others can't compete with. Drop this in the comments. They fear my consistency. Your discipline needs no justification. Stop explaining yourself. Here's what weak people do. They see your standards and they ask questions. Why do you wake up so early? Why don't you drink? Why are you so strict with yourself? And most people feel obligated to answer. They explain their reasons. They justify their choices. They try to make others understand. That's a mistake. Every explanation is an invitation to debate. When you explain why you wake up at 5 a.m., they argue why sleeping until 7 is fine. When you explain your diet, they defend their junk food. When you explain your work ethic, they justify their laziness. Your explanation becomes ammunition for their excuses. But when you don't explain, when someone asks why you're so disciplined and you simply say, "It's what I do," and nothing more, that creates mystery. That creates intimidation. They can't argue with no explanation. They can't debate what you won't discuss. Mystery amplifies power. When people don't understand why you do what you do, they fill the gaps with their imagination. And imagination usually makes you seem more intense, more committed, more dangerous than reality. Let them wonder, let them make assumptions. Let them create stories about your discipline that make you seem unstoppable. Your standards are not up for discussion, not negotiation, not debate. They simply are. This is who you are, this is what you do. No explanation needed, no justification required, no defense necessary. Machiavelli once said, "Never attempt to win by force what can be won by deception." Translation: don't force people to understand your discipline. Let the mystery of your unexplained standards deceive them into believing you're more disciplined than you even are. Stop defending your choices to people who wouldn't make those choices anyway. Let your standards stand alone, unexplained, unjustified, unshakable. Drop this in the comments. My standards need no explanation. Show up when they skip, deliver when they quit. Your consistency highlights their weakness. Here's the power move. Everyone can be disciplined on good days, when they were motivated, when conditions are perfect, when they feel inspired. That's easy. That's common. That doesn't separate you from anyone. But being disciplined on bad days, when you're tired, when conditions are terrible, when motivation is dead, that's rare. That's powerful. That's what creates fear. They skip the gym because they're tired, you go anyway. They delay the project because they're not feeling it, you deliver on time anyway. They make excuses when things get hard, you execute harder when things get hard, and every time you show up when they don't, you're proving a point without saying a word. Your consistency becomes the standard they're measured against. The boss doesn't compare them to perfection. The boss compares them to you. The person who always delivers. The person who never makes excuses. The person who shows up regardless of circumstances. You become the benchmark, and everyone else falls short. This creates two reactions. Some people will respect you. They'll recognize your discipline and try to match it. These people are valuable, keep them close. But most people will resent you. They'll say you're trying too hard, you're making them look bad, you need to relax. These people are revealing themselves. They want you to lower your standards so they don't have to raise theirs. Never lower your standards for comfort. Never skip for convenience. Never compromise consistency for popularity. Because the moment you break your pattern, the moment you show inconsistency, you lose the respect you built, and you prove that you're just like everyone else, breakable. Machiavelli once said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Translation: do the work now, consistently, while everyone else delays. When they finally get around to it, you'll be 10 steps ahead. Consistency compounds, their inconsistency keeps them starting over. Drop a comment right now with your daily discipline. Let me know what you do every single day without exception. Reliability becomes your reputation, and reputation becomes reality when enough people believe it. Be the person who never misses. That reputation alone opens doors. Drop this in the comments. I show up when they quit. Here's what amateurs do. They wake up early and post about it. They start a diet and tell everyone. They begin a project and announce the journey. They're so busy broadcasting their discipline that they waste energy that should go into execution. And when they inevitably quit, everyone watch them fail publicly. But professionals work in silence. They don't announce what they're doing. They don't post their morning routine. They don't share their workout plan. They just execute day after day, week after week, month after month, in complete silence. Then 6 months later, they show up transformed. And everyone asks, "What happened to you?" That's power. Silent success is louder than loud promises. When you transform without documenting the journey, people are shocked. They didn't see it coming. They have no context for how you did it. So they assume it was harder than it was. They assume you're more disciplined than you are. They assume you're capable of things they're not. Results without explanation create awe. When you don't show the work, only the outcome, people can't replicate your process. They can't dismiss your effort. They can't say, "I could do that," because they have no idea what that even required. Your transformation looks like magic when they didn't see the mechanics. Stop documenting everything. Stop posting your progress. Stop announcing your plans. Just work. Let the results arrive without warning. Let your transformation speak without words. Let your success be the first time most people realize you are even working on something. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Translation: people judge the visible result, not the invisible work. Show them the result. Hide the work. Let them wonder how you did it. The most intimidating people are the ones who transform silently. Be that person. Drop this in the comments. My results speak. My process stays silent. Everyone will pressure you to relax, never bend. Here's what happens the moment you set high standards. People start testing them. Just this once, skip the workout. Just today, eat whatever you want. Just this week, take it easy. They disguise it as care, as friendship, as looking out for you. But what they're really doing is testing whether your standards are real or just for show. Just this once is how discipline dies. Because once becomes twice. Twice becomes a pattern becomes a habit. And suddenly you're back where you started, all because you bent your standards for comfort, for approval, for fitting in. Your standards are non-negotiable. Not for holidays, not for celebrations, not for bad days, not for good days, not for anyone, not for anything. The moment you create exceptions, you create weakness, and people will exploit that weakness every time. They'll call you extreme, rigid, too intense, obsessed. Let them. Those words from undisciplined people are compliments. Extreme discipline creates extreme results. Rigid standards create reliable outcomes. Intensity separates you from the average. Obsession is what greatness requires. Most people negotiate with themselves daily. I'll start tomorrow. I'll do it later. Just this once won't hurt. Successful people made these negotiations illegal. There is no tomorrow. There is no later. There is no just this once. There's only the standard, met or not met. No middle ground. When someone pressures you to lower your standards, they're revealing their own weakness. They want company in mediocrity. They want validation that their lack of discipline is acceptable. Don't give them that validation. Hold your line. Your immovable principles create immovable respect. Machiavelli once said, "Since it is difficult to join them together, it is safer to be feared than to be loved when one of the two must be lacking." Translation: it's better to be respected for your unmovable standards than liked for your flexibility. Respect lasts. Likability fades. If you're realizing you need to hold your standards without compromise, subscribe right now for more truth like this. Stop bending for comfort. Start being unmovable. Your standards are the wall that protects your discipline. Never lower the wall. Drop this in the comments. My standards bend for no one. It's easy to be disciplined when things are good. Terrifying when you stay disciplined in crisis. Anyone can maintain standards when life is smooth, when money is coming in, when relationships are stable, when health is good. That's not impressive. That's normal. But maintaining those same standards when everything is falling apart, when you're broke, when you're heartbroken, when you're sick, when you're losing, that's what separates disciplined people from people who are just riding a wave of good circumstances. Most people use crisis as an excuse to quit. I'm going through a lot right now. Things are really hard. I need a break from my routine. They abandon discipline exactly when discipline matters most. And they never recover because they prove to themselves that their standards are conditional. But you sharpen when they crack. When life gets hard, you work harder. When circumstances get worse, your discipline gets stronger. When everyone else is making excuses, you're making progress. This is what terrifies people. They can't understand how you function under pressure that breaks them. Adversity reveals who's truly disciplined. Good times hide weakness. Bad times expose it. When you maintain your routine during crisis, you prove your discipline isn't dependent on feelings, isn't dependent on circumstances, isn't dependent on anything external. It's who you are, not what you do when convenient. Machiavelli once said, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Translation: it's better to be known as someone who never breaks under pressure than someone who's nice when things are easy. Crisis discipline creates legendary reputation. People remember who stayed disciplined when they had every reason to quit. That memory becomes respect. That respect becomes fear. That fear becomes power. Dark times are your opportunity to prove your discipline is real. Don't waste that opportunity seeking sympathy. Drop this in the comments. Crisis sharpens me, it doesn't break me. Phases end. Identity persists. They're waiting for you to quit. Prove them wrong forever. Here's what most people do. They get motivated. They start a routine. They're disciplined for a few weeks, maybe a few months. Then life happens. Motivation fades. The routine breaks. And they quit. Everyone watching knew it would happen because they've seen it before. Most people treat discipline like a phase, something they try, not something they are. But when discipline becomes your identity, when it's not what you do but who you are, that's permanent. That's unbreakable. That's terrifying to people who keep starting and stopping, because they can't comprehend someone who never stops, ever. Identity-level discipline means the behavior is tied to your self-concept. You don't say, I work out. You say, I'm someone who works out. You don't say, I wake up early. You say, I'm an early riser. The difference seems small, but it's massive. When you break a behavior, you failed. When you break an identity, you betrayed yourself. Identity violation hurts more than behavior violation, so you protect it. They're waiting for you to quit. They've got a mental timeline. Give it 3 months, give it 6 months. Eventually they'll stop. They're counting on you being like everyone else. Temporary, inconsistent, breakable. When you hit month 7, month 12, year 2, year 5, without breaking, without compromising, without quitting, their timeline breaks. You just proved you're different, permanently different, permanent. Commitment terrifies temporary people. They can't relate to someone who decided once and never decided again. They're always reconsidering, renegotiating, restarting. You decided who you are, you became that person, you stay that person, forever. That level of commitment is alien to them, and alien things are threatening. Machiavelli once said, everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. Translation, let them see permanent discipline. Let that appearance become your reality. Let years of consistency prove you're not in a phase. You are the phase that never ends. If you're building permanent discipline, not trying another phase, hit that like button right now. Stop experimenting with discipline. Start being disciplined. Make it who you are, not what you're trying. Drop this in the comments. Discipline is my identity, not my hobby. Undisciplined people are predictable. Use that predictability to win. Here's the strategic advantage nobody talks about. When you're surrounded by undisciplined people, you can predict their every move. They'll quit, they'll delay, they'll make excuses, they'll choose comfort over effort, every single time. And when you know exactly what someone will do, you can plan around their weakness. In business, this is lethal. Your competitor will skip the hard work. Count on it. They'll cut corners, they'll delay the launch, they'll make excuses when things get tough. So you do the opposite. You do the hard work they skip. You launch while they delay. You push through while they quit. And you win because they were predictable. In careers, this is automatic advancement. Your coworkers will be inconsistent. They'll show up late, they'll miss deadlines, they'll make excuses. You're the one who always delivers, always on time, always prepared. When promotion time comes, you're the only reliable choice. Not because you're the most talented, but because you're the most consistent. And reliability beats talent when talent isn't reliable. The disciplined person in a room of undisciplined people has already won. They just need to wait for everyone else to quit. And they always quit. Always. Discipline becomes your competitive advantage, your secret weapon, your unfair edge. Because most people simply won't do what you do, won't maintain what you maintain, won't persist when you persist. Machiavelli once said, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves. One must therefore be a fox to recognize traps, and a lion to frighten wolves." Translation, be smart enough to recognize their patterns. Be strong enough to outlast their inconsistency. Your discipline isn't just about you improving, it's about you winning while they self-destruct through their own lack of discipline. Drop this in the comments. Their weakness is my advantage. You now understand why ruthless discipline terrifies weak people. Let's recap. Your discipline intimidates because it exposes their excuses. Never explain your standards. Let mystery amplify your power. Be consistent when they're inconsistent. Become the benchmark they fail against. Let your results speak silently. Transform without documentation. Refuse to lower your standards for anyone or anything. Stay disciplined in dark times when they crack under pressure. Make discipline your permanent identity, not a temporary phase. Use their predictable lack of discipline as your competitive advantage. This isn't about self-improvement, this is about dominance. Machiavelli understood that discipline is power, not because it makes you better, but because it makes you unbreakable. And unbreakable people don't negotiate. They don't compromise, they don't bend. They simply exist at a level most people can't reach and won't maintain. Your discipline will scare them. Good, let it scare them. Let them watch you do what they can't. Let them see you maintain standards they gave up on. Let them witness consistency they'll never achieve. Their fear is your confirmation that you're doing it right. Do 3 things right now. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more raw truth about power and discipline. Drop in the comments which area of your life needs ruthless discipline starting today. Remember, discipline isn't comfortable. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be effective. It's supposed to separate you. It's supposed to scare them. Drop this final affirmation. My discipline is ruthless. My standards are unmovable. I am unbreakable.